Welcome, beautiful listener, to Tune In Radio U podcast. I am your host, Ruth, and with me today I have the gorgeous soul that is Ranginuku Khong, or Niko for short. Did I say it right?
Perfect.
Amazing.
Perfect.
Niko is a Bob Proctor consultant who specializes in personal and business development, because you literally can't have one without the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
He is also a brilliant cook, which I'm going to try and wangle my way into one of her meals one day.
For sure.
She doesn't know this yet. She knows now.
It's there now.
It's there. I put it out into the universe, so it's going to happen. She's a brilliant cook that left her market stall business, which I'm sad about, and previous to that left her corporate life, which I think is awesome, to follow what lit her up. Now she teaches people how to do just that. Welcome, Niko. Thank you for joining me. It's a pleasure. Absolutely.
Oh, the pleasure's all mine. Thank you so much, Ruth. It's so great to be here, and just what you're doing, I really admire it. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. That's really cool to hear. Just doing what I can with the tools that I've got. Yeah. So tell me, what is the best part of your life right now? What do you get to do that you love to do the most?
Right now, the list could go on, and I know I could go on and on and on and on.
Great.
But the real best part about what I do is seeing the transformation as part of inside and from my clients and their results, but also because I live and breathe what I teach and what I've learned from Bob and other mentors that I've had as well. I have seen changes in my family, and it's something that you can't put a price on. Just seeing them thinking differently and getting different results for themselves, and just overall a lot happier.
Yeah, that's amazing. Would you say that the results you've had or that you've seen in your family is just from you being you and doing, embodying the principles that you've learnt from Bob and other mentors? Or is it you literally sitting down with them and going, okay, this is what I've learnt. I feel like you should do this too.
Oh, okay. This is a bit of a two-prong effect. So first, that's what I did. I got, when you find something new and you just love it and you want to share it with the world, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I did. I was like, hey, sit down with me. Look, this is what I'm doing. And it was just like a whole heap of mouth vomit. And it was a bit too much for people. Sometimes it can be too much change, too much new things.
Mm-hmm.
But so that side didn't work, but they knew what I was doing, and my family were very supportive. But ultimately it was me just, what you were saying, living, breathing and embodying this information and being, I guess, a product of what I preach. And that's gotten them to think differently. That so all of my inner circle and my closest, my nearest and dearest friends, and also the community that I've been able to build as well. And yeah, it's more about leading by example.
Absolutely. Yeah. That is definitely probably one of the biggest things that I've learned in my lifetime, especially coming from a religious background where growing up, we literally went door knocking. We went to people's doors and we were like, hey, we've got good news for you. Please listen to us now. We would shake them if we were allowed to, but we weren't allowed to. So we just tried to talk to people. And most people, guess what most people did with that? They got pissed off. They're annoyed. They're like, don't come to my door on a freaking Sunday morning when I just want to chill because I've been working 9 to 5 all week and I don't know you and I don't care what you have to say about what you have to say, even though you think it's like the best thing in the world. Like, don't care. Don't care. I don't care if you're trying to save my life. I don't care. Like, and it's like, I get it. It's like, why why would you? Like, who are we to you? Like, nobody trying to force our opinions onto you. Like, and I think I take that as a blessing, right? As a real blessing growing up with that, because now doing what I do and learning the things that I've learned and trying to embody the principles of spirituality, the last thing that I want to do, because I know what it's like, is to preach these things to people, like, is to
Yeah.
try and shove it down people's throats. Like, no one wants that. And the best thing that you could possibly do is to just embody the principles yourself and lead by example, and just be nice and
Mm-hmm.
be nice and just keep it to yourself, you know? And people
100%.
notice. People notice and they're like, wow, Ruth's changed, Niko's changed. How cool is that? Like, you know, how amazing are they? And that's how it's done. I feel like those door knocking religions should really take a leaf out of the, you know, our book, Niko.
Oh, I understand because I think with what we're doing, even though we have or had the best intentions in that way of thinking, is that people thought that you were trying to change them when really you're just helping them to think in a different way, to bring out the potential, to bring out the goodness inside. But sometimes when we get so excited and we've got this beautiful vision, it doesn't come out like that, or they can't see and interpret it the way that we do.
Exactly. Exactly. Uh, yeah, that's life though, right? Live and learn.
Yeah, I think you said something really, really great as well when you're saying, people don't want to learn it. But again, on the flip side of that, you're inspiring people who even pretend that they're not watching or listening to you. Those are my favorite. I never knew about what I call silent observers. I've had a
Yes.
few come to me since I've started, really putting myself out there. And I'm like, wow, you actually love it. They may not react, they may not like, they may not share, or they may not comment, but they'll send you a message and you're inspiring someone no matter who is listening or watching you.
Yes, that is so true. And I've experienced that as well from people I really didn't expect, you know, to hear
Yeah.
from. Because, like you said, you just don't hear from them. There's no likes, there's no comments, there's no nothing on social media. But, you know, eventually they'll come to you with a little secret message, make sure that no one else knows.
Yeah.
Thanking you. And it's beautiful. Yeah, it's the best. It's the best. Niko, what do you do for fun?
Oh, what do I do for fun? Okay, so I am a super proud auntie aside from the business stuff. So I love to spend a lot of time with my nieces and nephews.
Beautiful.
But my idea of fun is going to the beach, playing sports, getting really active. I'm going to the gym as well. So
We,
yeah, shout out to Anytime Fitness Kwinana. That's my local gym.
yeah.
I love that gym. Yeah, so I go to the gym. And being a foodie, of course, like you mentioned before, of course I have to go eat out at some really good places and
Hmm.
really experiment. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What is what's your favorite restaurant in Perth? Just for my own pure curiosity.
Oh, okay. This might sound a little biased, but it has to be my husband's cooking. He's literally the best. So if I was to choose a local business, then lately I've been feeling Greek vibes. Hey, so
Greek.
yeah,
Interesting. Yeah,
Greek. So
nice.
I love Bricka right now.
Oh
Yeah, that's
yeah.
my go-to.
Yeah,
At,
right. I do enjoy Brica. I've been there a couple of times. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
yeah.
You know what I've been getting into lately is in Fremantle, because I live close by.
Hmm.
Um, there are the markets on Sunday morning at Fremantle Farmers Markets,
Oh, okay.
which are in on Lefroy Road. Um, and you get all the cool, you know, fruit and veg and all that sort of stuff. But there's this little Salvadorian stall. They make pupusas and tamales. And I might be speaking really foreign to people right now, but it is Salvadorian food. And they make vegan and otherwise pupusas, and they're just amazing. And then they make this drink called horchata. And it reminds me of something that my mum introduced me to, which is Spanish, but they actually make it with different ingredients, but they kind of taste really similar. So the Spanish one is made with like this root, like a root vegetable or something. They're really kind of small and long. But the Salvadorian one, they make with these seeds, different seeds and stuff. And it's kind of like a sweet drink, and it's kind of milky, but it's like no milk. It's just with the seeds and stuff. But oh my God, it's so refreshing and so delicious. I absolutely recommend it. Pupusas horchata. Go for it, guys. Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to note this. I have to watch this again.
Yeah. We're recording this, so you're sweet. Yeah, so tell us about your transition from corporate life to where you are now. Tell us that story that you told me the other day.
Ooh. Okay, so my corporate career began in New Zealand originally. And then one day my parents said, well, since you guys are all grown up, so me and my brother, we're going to move to Australia. And I was like, whoa. Being all family orientated, I love my family. So I was like, well, I'm coming too. And I pretty much had just started and was starting to gain traction there. But then I was like, no, family's more important. So I moved over here in 2013. Yeah, say 2013. And then I grew my corporate career from there as well. And I've just really developed myself. I've always had an instinct to, to see what else is out there, to really grow. And I think I could say I've got a certain level of confidence where once I know something, then I just want to keep going and learn more, because I think that's what we're all about as humans. We're designed to grow in whatever it is that we love to do. And I really love the corporate world. Had so many great opportunities, and I had so many ups and downs. And sometimes, to be honest, and I'm sure a lot of listeners will be able to understand, is that you kind of get in your own ways with your growth, and that confidence or lack of can stump your growth and can stop you from growing further. But I was just very grateful to have such amazing managers and leaders who kind of gave me the kick up the bum and kind of pushed me like, you're made for more, you can do more, even though my insides were turning, saying, no, I'm not worthy enough, no, I'm not enough. But so eventually I grew into the habit of just developing myself and putting in the work, getting all the experience. And then I got to a point where, I've got so much success in the corporate world, and it was great. And I was very grateful to be able to be working with a like-minded team, a really beautiful team. But then there was something inside of me that was like, come on, what else is there? Like, you got to push yourself. What else is there? There's more. And so that's what led me into my own personal development. So I was a coach in the corporate world as well, just for a small stint. And then I felt a bit limited with policies and guidelines and everything. And I was like, how can I be a greater impact, or how can I be of greater service to the people that I teach? Because I know I can see there's something in there that I just need to help bring to the surface so they can see it as well. And I think that's key, is having someone that believes in you, whether it be a mentor, a manager, or a coach, that really believes in you when at times sometimes you don't even believe in yourself. So yeah, that was really key for me. And when I was able to find Bob's material, so it all just started through YouTube, and started really applying it and understanding what he was teaching, I was thinking, wow, there's so much more out there. I thought, being in a stable corporate job, really good salary. Everything was sweet, like literally sweet. Family life is great, personal life, I couldn't ask for any more, to be honest. But then it's just like, well, is that it? And growing up, this is what I created at that time, was exactly what I wanted. I'm just like, what do we have? Children now? What do we do? And that was when my husband and I really started deep diving into self-development and understanding that, whoa, there's a whole new world of possibility out there. And so I started doing that just for myself, because I just wanted to be the best version of myself, not only for my team, but for my managers, to be a great leader within the team, and also for people who I coach as well. But then people started noticing, and we touched on this before, people started noticing that, you're changing, you're doing things differently, because honestly, it doesn't make sense to go to work an hour earlier. So sometimes I'll get to work at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning and I'll be studying. I mean, no one does that in the corporate world that I know of, or that I saw in the office anyway. And they're like, what are you doing? And I was like, just studying. And sometimes if it was, really close friend, I was like, just leveling up. Don't worry about me. I'll see you soon. And a lot of people started noticing the shifts that I was having, and obviously by the results as well. And I started creating so many more opportunities for myself, which I'm so internally grateful for, and started getting recognized by a lot of different people. But then there was a turning point where people started asking, what are you doing? And they really wanted to know. It wasn't just, oh, what are you doing? Reading a book, studying, cool, bye. They were like, no, what are you doing? Because you're just changed. When you start developing yourself and start bringing that potential on the inside out, that radiates, and that energy is so attractive. People gravitate towards you. And I noticed that people started wanting to learn what I do. And I was like, well, I'm learning, you can learn with me. And then it just eventuated from there, where I started doing consulting on the side as well, and helping people on the side of my corporate job, because my corporate role was what I had worked towards for years. And I just, it's honestly the dream job that you do not want to leave. Everyone tries to get into that role, but it's very rare that the opportunities come up. So I was really hesitant to leave that. But yeah, you get to a point where you just realize that, hey, if you really want to show up for your clients on the side, and if you really want to be the best version like you say you are doing, practice what you preach, go all in 100%. And that was a time as well where my husband and I decided that we'll be traveling back to New Zealand. So this is all in pre-COVID kind of days.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's illogical really to think like that. And it's illogical to leave your stable corporate job, or just do your own business, because when you're in business for yourself, it's not guaranteed. It's there's a lot of risk involved, but then that's where it comes down to you and what you choose to focus on, because what you focus on will grow. So then I reduced my hours first, and then I stepped aside and said, look, because my husband was serious, pursuing his career as well. And I was like, well, I want to support you. And since I've created this on the side, I can literally work from anywhere. And that's how it all eventuated from there. So now I just, I help people and businesses transform their results on a full-time basis now.
That's so awesome. It's so awesome. Absolutely. Like, I have to just say that you mentioned earlier about having a coach or a mentor or something of some description, right? If you want to level up, if you want to develop yourself, absolutely 100% agree that you need somebody to keep you accountable, to kick you in the butt, like gently and lovingly, but and figuratively, hopefully, um, and to be in your corner. And I know from myself and my own experience, and trying, coming from both sides. So where I've tried to do it by myself for a long
We all
time.
have. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And just like it's a grind, like it's hard, right? But then getting a coach, it's, instead of like taking one step forward and two steps back, you're taking maybe five steps forward and then two steps back with a coach. Like it's just that difference is huge. When you've got that person on your side that knows what they're doing to help you push forward, yeah, it's just a game changer. Absolutely. Where do you think your unworthiness, your original unworthiness from within came from?
Well, I'd have to say, knowing what I know now, I didn't understand. I just thought I was a shy person, and I know that's not true. Not true at all. I'm not shy. Maybe at a point of time I was, but it was just about really putting myself out there. And I think a term that's used now quite freely is, I didn't want to expose myself in case I was wrong or in case people would judge me. It was really a fear of judgment and a fear of rejection. Actually, this brings me to a really pivotal. That's not even a word.
You've just
Pivotal.
created a new word. Well done.
Kiwi
Congratulations.
slang. Kiwi slang. Um, so it was a pivotal time in my life was when I originally. So growing up, I always had played netball, right? And my family were really competitive sports people, and we just love a good competition. And I'd always play netball, so it's guaranteed that I would be playing representative, whatever, growing up. But one day, one of my friends was like, "Hey, I'm going to trial for soccer," or other your listeners might know it as football. And I was like, "Oh yeah, that sounds fun." They're like, "You should do it," and I was like, "Oh yeah." And then I went to the trials, and I got rejected straight off the bat. And to be honest, thinking back about it, it was kind of my fault because one, I didn't have shoes. I didn't know you needed boots or or socks or sneakers to trial in. And two, I just assumed because they knew my success from my netball career that they would know who I am. And no, I was a nobody, absolute nobody. So it was that rejection. And then going home and telling my mom, because this was all in high school, I was like, "Mom, I got rejected. What am I going to do?" I was like, they didn't even look at me. They just said, "No, you can't trial," turned around. And I was like, "Oh, do you know who I am?" I was like, "I can run. I can, like, I may not be able to kick a ball, but I can learn." And one thing that my mom has always told my brother and I growing up is, well, if you think you can't, prove yourself wrong. And I was like, whoa, okay. So the next trials, the next day, I borrowed my cousin's sneakers and I went down, tried my heart out, even though, oh, God bless my old self, is that I couldn't kick a ball, I was toe hacking, but I had that willpower and I had the determination to learn. And I kid you not, I just kept going at it with soccer. And within 2 years, I had represented New Zealand and got in
Wow.
national titles. I know, and
That's
this was after being
incredible.
turned away, but that it was that point that really stuck with me, that fear of rejection and feeling that way. When you get rejected, you feel unworthy, you don't feel confident in yourself, and you feel like crap. I don't know how else to explain
Pretty
it.
much, yeah.
And what's sad about it is that some people don't have the support system that I did with my mom and with her determination for and confidence in me, because a lot of people just say, "Oh well, it was just an idea anyway," and then they brush it aside and they don't push themselves to grow in the future, which is something that I've carried along with me. But that creeps up now and then. So when I finally started taking new steps, learning new things, I started to gain more confidence in myself and in my abilities. And then having the amazing leader, manager, coach just really cemented that. They're like, "Yes, you're seeing it. Yes, you're seeing it." And it just keeps you pushing on. And I think not only does a really good coach and a really good mentor or a good manager see the potential in you and hold you accountable, but they really hold you accountable to your success, which has really helped me over the times growing up.
Absolutely. Oh my God. Like, I love what your mum said. I love that so much. Because a lot of times you hear, that saying, if you think you can or you can't, you're right.
Oh
Either
yeah, Henry
way.
Ford. Mm-hmm.
Henry Ford. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like what your mum said kicks Henry Ford's quotes ass. Like, absolutely, hands down. Because you're right. Like, so many times, there's so many of us growing up, especially, we just did not have that support group. And even we might have had parents that had their own issues with their own self-worthiness, like with their own self-worth, or feelings of lack, or whatever it was, that they just kind of pass that shit on to you, their children, but they don't know any better. It's not because they don't love you or they want to see you fail. It's because they just didn't have the tools, right? They just didn't know any better. But your mum obviously did, and that is beautiful. And it's something that I had to learn by trial and error by myself as an adult, later on in life, where I've got to the point now where if I find something scary, I'm like, let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, you're not going to stop me. Like, I don't care how, like, the more scary, the more I'm like, okay, I really need to try and do this now, which is unfortunate. It's like you're kind of pooping your pants at the same time of trying to achieve something, but the results and the feelings that you get from doing it, because I tell you what, what's that quote you gave me the other day that I love, that I actually wrote down? That's what it was.
Failure can't cope with persistence, right?
Failure cannot cope with persistence. And it's so true. It doesn't matter how scary it is, like, or how many times you fail. If you keep trying, eventually something's got to give. Something's got to give. And that is a beautiful thing to finally learn as an adult. But you obviously learned that as a teenager, and that is invaluable. That's so awesome. I'm happy for you. That's so cool.
Thank you. Thanks, Mum.
Yeah, thanks, Mum. Thanks, Niko's mum.
Yeah, even though at times we'll think, we got a nickname my brother and I have for her as a dragon, because she was always on our case. She was always on our case. But you know what? That's what pumped out the titles. That's what pumped out the medals for my brother and swimming records. So
there you go. Yeah, and it's made you the person that you are today as well. So
1,000%.
Yeah, it's so cool. Who is Bob Proctor? Like, what does he stand for?
So, Bob Proctor is seriously the life game changer. So he's the world's leading teacher in human potential, and a lot of people might know him from Rhonda Byrne's book, The Secret.
Nice.
But literally, he is just he's like the grandfather of success, to be in my eyes. And I'm just so grateful for the new world of possibility he's opened me up to, as well as my family and everyone around me, and especially my clients as well. They see it too. So that's a little nutshell of what he's about.
Yeah,
just overall legend, really.
Cheers, Bob, for being a legend. Tell us about how you went into the market stall business.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I kind of got a bit sidetracked about that.
That's okay. I brought you back. It's all good.
You got it all right. So like I've mentioned before, I'm a huge foodie. Love food, and I love experimenting with food and learning more. And then when my husband, thank goodness, he's also a foodie, so we gel really well, and we work really well in the kitchen. And it got to a point where we're making a lot of family dinners and a lot of different things together, that people were like, why don't you, first it was, why don't you go on My Kitchen Rules? And we're like, oh, no, because again, the fear of rejection, the fear of being out there, we're like, oof, no, we're good. And I can talk, my husband's a lot more reserved, I guess is what you could say. And growing up with my grandparents and the way that they use food to bring the whole family together, and just seeing everybody enjoy themselves and enjoy the company, that's something that I've always aspired to recreate in my own family, growing up as time goes by. And that's what we were doing. But then the idea came where people started saying, hey, could we pay for you to make some dishes, or could we pay for you to do this? And we're like, oh, us? You want to pay for us to cook for you? We're like, just that dish? Because to us it's just easy, because we've practiced so many times. And then it got to a point where there was a huge Kiwi festival here in Perth. And I was thinking, oh, that'll be nice. I wouldn't mind doing this. This is all on the side of working in the corporate world as well. And I was like, I would really like to do it. And so I started thinking about the idea of, having my own market store, people actually buying my food, because people, I've never sold my food like that before on a large scale. And when I started thinking about it, I started to get excited. And when you start thinking of something new, when you go after and you go, then you get that fire in your belly and you're like, okay, I got to do it. And so that's what happened. And I made the decision. I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. Let's do it. But this is the thing. So I was still working full time in the corporate world. I planned my days off and I was thinking, okay, this could work. I can do it. And then people started telling me, are you sure? Even close in my closest circle too. Are you sure you want to do it? There's a lot of work. You really want to go out and do it? I was like, oh. And then that self-doubt, the rejection started coming, like, oh, what if people don't buy my food? Oh, what if things don't work out? What if I don't get the food, the food license? What if this? What if? And I was like, just having a mental battle internally, because I had never done something like this before. And this is like what you were touching on before, Ruth, is when you're saying, when it makes you uncomfortable, do it. Because at that time, I was comfortable cooking for family, even though it's probably on a large scale as well as a market store. It was different when you're really putting yourself out there. So really, I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat stuff and say it wasn't the easiest experience, especially when people closest to you weren't on board with what you want, when you're used to having that support system. So sometimes it did feel like my back was against the wall, and sometimes it did feel like I wasn't going to make it work, right? And then that's when old mum coming to my mind, prove yourself wrong. And then she would always say, her and my dad would always say, well, we're here, we'll help you. And I was like, okay. I was like, are you sure? And they're like, yeah, we'll help you, don't worry about it. The real laid back Kiwi style. Yeah, they're like, don't worry, we'll be there. And I was like, okay, well, I've got someone on my team. And then my friends were great as well, my best friends, they were all on board, and my cousins. And I was like, okay, all right, I can do this. And then the belief started building up again. And after many trials and errors with the food, just to really perfect the recipe, because I would not sell anything or even give away anything that isn't, to its highest standard, because my personal standard is the best of the best. So I wouldn't want that. I would only want to give that to my clients and my customers. And then when the day started coming, I was like, oh no. I was like, what if they don't come? I was like thinking the signs. I was like, are they enough? Is it like all this stuff started coming up for me again, because it never leaves you, this fear, this doubt, worry, it all comes. But what I did is, rather than act with fear, I just acted with faith that my parents have my back, at least someone's got my back, and my friends are there. I was like, it's okay. And if, it all comes to worst, doesn't work out, we've got lots of food to eat for the rest of the 2 weeks or probably next month. And I just started walking, acting with faith and walking and taking action with that faith. And believe it or not, we sold out in, I'd say, confidently say within 2 hours. And I made more on that day it was my first, I think, it was my first $6,000 day, my very first $6,000 day. And just working for those 2 hours. But everyone thinks, so, that was a great success. You did so well. You were so calm and collected and everything. And that's what people tend to look at when you get great success and when you have all these great physical results as well. But no one sees the internal battles that go on. No one sees, the trial and errors, the staying up late, trying to perfect your recipe, staying up late to, make sure everything is, all those finer details, those tedious things are all done, and that you're at your best to be your best for your clients, for your customers. And that's something that, if you're going through that right now, if any listeners are going through that, just keep on going, persistence. Because I can tell you, honestly, if I had given into the idea where people were telling me, oh, why do you want to do that? You've got a great job, like just work during the weekend and get extra money or whatever it is. But that's not what I wanted. And we tend to dismiss our wants and dismiss going after what we want because of someone else's opinion. But their opinion honestly does not matter. And my husband can vouch for that. He'll give me his insight, but he knows when I'm stubborn as heck. So when I know that I want something and I know I can get it, now I know my success is inevitable, then you just just start taking one step. And if you find a path that you go one way, you might get to an end where it's like, oh no, wrong way, just find another path, just find another way. Because it's the beauty about growth, is when you start entertaining new ideas and going after new beautiful goals and things that you really want, then you're entering uncharted territory. So there's no right or wrong way. Sometimes you have to fail your way to the top, but as long as you keep going, then eventually, like we were talking before, the quote from Napoleon Hill is that failure can't cope with persistence. So you're going to win eventually.
That's so true. It's so true. I was going to say that you kind of covered it anyway, that you just can't take any wrong steps. You can't,
No.
because every single step is a lesson. It's a lesson on what to do or what not to do. You know, um, and it's all beautiful. It's all perfect, right?
Yeah.
And you're always in the right place at the right time for wherever you need to be doing whatever it is that you're doing. Like, you're always perfect, right? You're perfect. Where you're at is perfect. Just, and I think that the biggest thing is to be kind to yourself along the way.
Oh,
Yeah. it's
absolutely. Yeah.
it's because we all have these internal battles. It's like, the duck on the water, and like they're kind of floating on top of the water, but you don't see their legs just going like they're just going nuts, right? Their legs are nuts. And that's like a lot of us. They're like duck legs inside of us, right? Just going nuts, like anxiety, depression, fear of failure, whatever it is, right? And yeah, it's kind of all part of being human, and it's all okay. And as long as, you kind of gentle with yourself along the way, and with all the, there's, and I think there's no such thing as failure either. So to me, they're just lessons, right?
Yeah,
They're all just lessons.
absolutely.
Like, I think as soon as you kind of turn the way of think, that mindset of, switching it from failure to a lesson, that changes a lot. I feel, then you can't really go wrong. You're just learning. You're just a student the whole time. you know?
Exactly.
And I think that's where we're at, right? We're in the school of
Yeah.
life, school of earth, and it's all good. You're all good. Just be kind to yourself. Just be gentle on yourself, and you're going to be fine. Um, and so you left your corporate job
Mm-hmm.
to pursue the market stall.
No, not
No?
quite. So the market store was just kind of a side thing where I honestly I just love doing it for fun. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I did that, and just having that mindset that, you know, my grandmother created such a beautiful life, bringing everyone together with her food to enjoy, and that's the kind of, you know, that's the kind of feeling that I wanted to create for my customers, just bringing everyone together, having a good time and enjoying food. So from that market store day, people started recognizing my husband and I cooking, and then they started wanting to hire us out for catering jobs. And there was a huge influx of orders and things like that for us to do. And then it got to a point where I was thinking, well, yes, I've created what I wanted to initially, right? From my and being inspired from my grandmother, but food's temporary. It's like a temporary band-aid. I want something more permanent. I want to know how I can create that permanent success, that permanent feeling, that permanent awareness that, you know, you can be happy and you can be joyful. So then I started reading, of course, The Secret, and I didn't really understand it. I just thought, well, the law of attraction, you know, it's used quite freely now. The law of attraction, manifesting, all that stuff. So I was like, yeah, great, awesome, you know, high vibe. But I didn't really dive into it because I was still committed to my corporate job, because growing up, you know, just got that belief system. That's where you want to go. You want to work for you want to work for like a real high corporate company. You want an office job, you want a stable job, you you know, you want that stable income. But then it got to a point where I was like, well, okay, how can I be of greater impact? And then that's where I started using the same mentality I had setting up the market store, to saying, okay, well, how can I help other people develop that confidence? How can I help other people develop that mindset to, you know, to be better, to focus on what they want to achieve? And then I started investigating. I started learning more about coaching. Then I became a coach, and then I started obviously going on from there, because I just found that I wanted to make an even greater impact. You know, when you think, you know, you want to make a greater impact and you get there, especially when you go after a huge goal that you don't think you can achieve in the first place, when you get there, you're like, oh, I know how to go further now. And then you just go, oh, and then there's something more. So that's kind of been the journey from there. And that's how the coaching came in, is just to make an even greater impact. And honestly, if you told me, at least, I was thinking about this even 2 years ago, that I would be doing what I do now, I'd be like, oh, I would just be smiling, be like, yeah, right, that's great, thanks. But it is what it is. I always thought I'd be having a you know, busy cafe or some food business of some sort, you know, really growing that catering side or whatever that looked like. But yeah, this is what I'm doing right now, and I love it.
Yeah, it's so cool. So you ended up doing a course, a Bob Proctor course, is that right?
Oh
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. And
yeah.
then there was just an opportunity to come up to be one of his consultants, right? That you took. Because
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
like, why wouldn't you? That's huge.
Well, to be honest, I like you said, I just invested in myself because I wanted to develop myself, and that's how I met Bree, who you interviewed earlier. And then once I started doing that, I was like, okay, well, I need to see how I can really refine my goals so I can make the quantum leap, so I can really, you know, expand my awareness and create better results. Because even though I was creating really great results that people usually work a long time to achieve. I was like, I know I can do more. There's more out there. And then that's when my husband and I made a decision. Well, he surprised me. Let's go to LA and we'll go to see Bob live. And I was like, okay. So we went to go see Bob live, and that was great. It was definitely an experience. And then that's where I found the opportunities to become a consultant. And at the time, I was still working for the bank, and I was working for the corporate world. And then I was like, well, I'm still working there, and the consultancy that will help develop within my team as well. So I was like, yeah, that could work. I did not know that it was that it was a spiritual game. It was all about what I do right now. I had no idea. I just jumped in with a leap of faith, and it is what it is. Yeah.
So what is it exactly that you do? I don't think we've actually touched on that. Have we really talked about that? I don't think
No,
specifically. No. So yeah, just tell us what you do exactly with
So
your clients.
yeah, so in short, I help my clients to bring the potential from within to the surface, to their surface. I help them understand that there's a new world of possibility. And so I work with a range of clients, and we work with either their businesses or their personal life and see how we can level up. And really, I don't tell them what to do. I just tell them that their way of thinking has created their results. And when I get them to understand that, then we move on to helping them understand. This is with Bob as well, helping them understand that you can actually use your way of thinking, the new way of thinking, to create the results that you want. So I facilitate a number of his programs that he's created. So Bob is ultimately the coach, but I'm being the mentor. I just help keep my clients accountable to their success, and going through what I've gone through, using my experience to help them and be relatable, because people don't want someone that's all airbrushed and photoshopped, I guess is what you could say. They want someone that's real and who they can relate to. So yeah, because there's so many life coaches and whatever they want to be called around, but you got to find who really resonates with you.
Yeah, super important. Super
Yeah.
important. What would you say is going on in the world right now? What's
Oh,
your
that's
take
a
on it?
good question. I think the world is going through a very, very interesting time right now. And to be honest, I think it's a huge learning experience for everyone. Some things, with what's going on, it triggers, it is going to trigger a lot of people. But if we can really take in, I don't want to be toxic positive, I guess is what you could say. But if you really look at what's happened and just know that the outside world, the external world, doesn't control how you think, and it doesn't control what you think. Yeah, it can influence some things only if you let it. So it doesn't matter what happens or what's happening on the outside. What matters is how we talked about earlier, is how you're talking to yourself on the inside. What thoughts are you thinking? And is it going to help you grow, or is it going to help your business grow for you and your clients, whatever that may look like? But really, we're going through an interesting time. It's probably the best word that I can describe right now.
Yeah. What would you say would be the biggest lesson that you've learned so far in your life?
Oh, is the biggest lesson I've learned is from my mum. Just prove myself wrong. When that fear, doubt, and worry, or especially the fear of failure comes through, prove yourself wrong. Go out and do it, and keep going until you can't go no more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do love that. That's so cool. And what would you maybe advise somebody that's just starting to kind of maybe wake up to what's really going on in the world right now, and starting to realize that maybe, there is more, There is more to life. There is more to what they can achieve, maybe. What would you say to these people? Say if they're listening.
Yeah, honestly, you are the most powerful person if you accept that you are. So you've got to accept that you're the most powerful person, and you have a huge capacity for change. And that's because there's so much potential inside of you. But the thing is, you can't look on the outside. You can't look externally for the solution. You are your only solution. So what if you're on the fence making a decision about doing something, whether it's applying for a job, trialing for a sports team, starting your own business even, or, just wanting to do things differently, just ask yourself, what if you said yes?
Beautiful. And where can people find you if they want to work with you, Niko?
Yeah, so they can find me. So my business name is Diamond Mindset to Success. So we've got a private Facebook group, obviously on Facebook. So please feel free to join. Otherwise, I am on Instagram as well. So Ranginuku Khong. You can otherwise known as Niko as well, for sure.
I will write that in the show notes, guys. It's all good.
Thank you. Honestly, if there's anything I can do to help any one of your listeners, just mention Ruth's name to me and I'll be happy to help. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Niko. It has been an absolute pleasure. Love talking to you. Your vibe is just so beautiful and uplifting, and I really appreciate that. So thank you for your time.
Likewise. Thank you so much, Ruth.